All right, let's begin in Minneapolis. This morning, police are working to learn more about why a shooter opened fire during a Catholic school's opening mass roughly this time yesterday. 2 children were killed, 17 others hurt at the Annunciation Catholic Church after being shot at through stained glass windows there. 14 of those children were injured. Let's take a listen to how one boy described the moments the gunfire erupted.
The first one, I was like, what is that? I thought it was just something. Then when I heard it again, I just ran under the pew. And then I covered my head. My friend Victor, saved me, though, because he laid on top of me, but he got hit.
Many of the injured are currently at the Hennepin County Medical Center, and you're looking at CBS News correspondent Lana Zak standing outside. Lana, it's so jarring to hear that young boy's voice describe something so horrific. How are the injured victims doing this morning?
Yeah, Errol, absolutely. It tears at your heart hearing that tiny voice. Well, here at Hennepin, they are working to try and make sure that those children in their care get home to their families. Already, several children have been released. They still have 10 patients, though, here in the hospital. 6 of them are in critical condition. 1 is an 80-year-old senior citizen. The 5 others are children. We're starting to learn a little bit more, some of the names and ages of some of those children, though no formal release has been put out yet. I would mention one in particular, Sophia, 12 years old. She was a 7th grader, just had started 7th grade 3 days ago, and she was so excited about it. She was joined by her younger brother in photos that we see on a GoFundMe page of the 2 of them outside of the school celebrating that first day. She is here. She's undergone surgery. Over the next few days, they're going to understand better how she's doing. She's one of those patients in critical condition. And Errol, her mother, is a critical care pediatric nurse. She was coming here to help treat patients before even knowing that her daughter was among them.
Wow, that's remarkable, Lana. And I know for many of the parents, they're having a hard time explaining to their kids what happened and how things are now different as far as schedules and things happening. How, though, is everyone rallying behind each other in trying to get through just this first day?
Well, there have been no shortage of vigils and prayer services, not only from Annunciation and the Catholic community, but others are holding prayer services in support. We've also seen so many people coming with flowers, with signs of encouragement. 2 crosses were brought into the site recently and put up with some names on them. We are waiting to hear more details, official releases of the names of those 2 young people, an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, who were killed in that attack. But overall, parents are trying to figure out how best to tell their children about this. And I spoke with several at the vigil last night who were talking to me about the complexity of managing their own emotions with what they felt like their children needed to know. And one parent that I spoke with said she was actually supposed to be at an open house, an orientation for her daughter who was starting kindergarten that night, but instead they found themselves at that candlelight vigil.
Yeah, horrific. Lana Zak with the latest there outside a key care center for so many. Lana, thank you. We now want to bring in CBS News senior coordinating producer for crime and public safety, Anna Schecter. Anna, great to see you again this morning. We've been speaking already about the investigation. It's still very early. We're in the first 24 hours here. But what are we learning about the shooter and their potential motivations? Because documents and video were left behind.
That's right. Extensive writings and video showing weapons with etchings on them, really hateful language targeting blacks, Hispanics, Jews. So it's really kind of a range of investigative lines that that investigators are looking at, not just anti-Catholic hate, but other types of hate as well. Now remember, the head of the FBI put out that he has directed his agents to investigate this as a potential act of domestic terrorism and a hate crime. Now we also know the shooter had a connection to this school, had been a student at the school, school, and the shooter's mother worked at the school for a period of time. So this shooter knew this location, knew the building well, had even etched a very accurate sketch, including lines of pews in one of those notebooks that you just asked about.
That is an extremely chilling detail.
Yes.
And considering that the shooter had a connection to the school, the person's mother as well, what does that suggest? And there was also reports of even doors being barricaded at some point. Can you explain what that was about as well?
Absolutely. Well, initially when police responded to the scene, they noticed that there was plywood blocking doors, blocking entry and exit, most importantly. But they didn't find out till a few hours later, once they were able to review all the surveillance video, that it was actually the shooter that had put those plywood planks in place essentially to prevent the children from exiting the building before the attack. Just chilling details. It just keeps getting worse.
Everyone now is thinking of not just recovery and the community coming together, but how do you prevent something like this from ever happening again? The suspect purchased the firearms legally and wasn't on any apparent watch list. So from what you can tell, is there anything people could have done? Well,
there is a red flag law in Minnesota. So a member of the household, family member, or a county lawyer, or a member of law enforcement could have petitioned a judge to temporarily take away weapons. But those are actually pretty restrictive. It's only for a period of time. They would have had to know about it. But investigators are certainly looking at whether family, friends, or associates or coworkers knew that this attack was coming.
And a detail you shared with me this morning on the CBS Morning News was that the YouTube videos the shooter created were scheduled to post during the shooting. So none of this, as far as we know, was out ahead of time. It's hard to know who would have seen something
exactly right
so early. Anna Schecter, great reporting. Really appreciate you sharing that with us today. Thank you. And a quick programming note for you all. In just a few minutes, I'll speak with the chief of the Minneapolis Police Department, Brian O'Hara. You see him there, about really what comes next. And you'll see that here on CBS News 24/7. For more on how Washington is responding to this tragedy, let's connect now with CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand. Natalie, good morning once again. What is new from the White House on this?
Errol, we haven't yet seen a new statement from the president following the incident. Shortly after that, he had posted that he was monitoring the situation. He had been briefed, and he issued a proclamation to lower all flags, all federal flags at half-staff, which has been done. But we're still waiting to see an updated statement, and we'll have to wait to see what the White House says later today during a press briefing scheduled for this afternoon, especially as Democrats over on Capitol Hill are renewing their calls for increased gun safety legislation in light of this latest mass shooting. And we will also be keeping an eye on what the vice president says. J.D. Vance, a Catholic himself who has young school-aged children, is holding an event today in Wisconsin to talk about, the recently passed One Big Beautiful Bill. But we'll have to wait and see how he answers questions about the shooting and school safety.